Great Tuesday morning, you all. How are you all doing? Happy Tuesday. This is your girl, Shan. Come on, get up. Positive mindset. I hope each and every one of you are doing amazing on this morning. Waking up with a positive mind, right? So this week, I was talking about it yesterday. I will be talking about military marriages. That's something that I never really got in depth on and really hit on. And so yesterday, I just spoke about military marriages in general. Today, I'm talking about military spouses. Tomorrow, I purpose to talk about military children, and on Thursday, to veterans and those who are married to veterans. And so, like I always say, if just because you didn't serve in the military, you never know. Somebody you know may need this information or whatnot. So good morning, Delisha. Good morning, Natasha. As everybody start rolling in or whatever, I always say good morning. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So military spouses, this is something that I was thinking. And y'all know I'm just going to keep it all the way real because it's needed. It really is. So please know that what I say on today, I'm not shaming anybody, whatever the case may be. It's just to provide deeper insight. And I so wish that somebody would have shared this type of information with me when me and my husband first started off in our military journey together. And so, yes, I was active duty, but then there was a time when I became a military spouse. Hey, Aisha, how you doing? And I have to be honest with you. Y'all gonna think that I'm gassing this up, but I have been thinking about this since yesterday, and I promise to God, I think it is so true. A lot of the, I guess you can say, wars and missions that our military go on, if it was not for the support and the backbone of the military spouse. Now, being in the military, we were talking about, or we know about, the NCOs are the backbone of the Army or the Air Force or whatever the case may be. They hold it up and they make it do what it do. That's just what it is. I'm not knocking anybody's officer. I'm just telling you what it is. However, the military spouse, when you handling your business, you doing what it is that you're supposed to do. If it wasn't for you, because like I said yesterday, when we are active duty members and we deploy overseas, if our home front is not straight, we cannot operate 100%. You see what I'm saying? That's just like mama. There was a time when I remember being in the field, and at that time, because we were doing military, my son, newborn baby, I shouldn't even been in the field, but I'm going to get off of that. But newborn baby, he was 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old. He was in the hospital, in the military hospital, fever hot, but there's nothing I could do because I was in the field. You know what I'm saying? But my husband held it down as a military spouse. It is really challenging when you are dual military, but I give it up for all military spouses. That's number one. Number two, I want to apologize to you all, because I remember when I was active duty and people would talk about their spouses and stuff like that. I was like, psh, it ain't nothing compared to what we have to do. They probably sitting at home just watching TV, eating on bonbons. That's when bonbons was a thing and whatever. But I said all that as an active duty military spouse, but I was still in that active duty role more so. It wasn't until I came into the position of just a military spouse where I could not handle it. So big ups to you all. You know what I'm saying? For the sacrifice and the things that you do. People do not realize the military spouses go through a lot. Yes, you signed up, you married the individual, whatever the case may be, that is an active duty member. However, in a sense, your life is on hold. You can't do a lot of the things that you want to do because you got to move and all these other kind of stuff. Your husband or wife come home saying, hey, we got orders to go over here. Guess what? You got to get up and you got to go. That's just what it is. But this is the thing. I'll be talking about the military children on tomorrow. Good morning, Cammie. But this is the thing right here. When you are a spouse, you have to, when you receive this information from your active duty service member that, hey, we got to go. We got to pick up. We got to move. You know, we just got orders to some place where you just don't want to go. The military spouse's responsibility is to make your house a home no matter where you go. You see what I'm saying? No matter where you go, it's to make the house a home. Then you have to sit down and talk to your children because you got to break it gently to them, because guess what? The friends that they didn't have for the past 2 or 3 years, they might not have them friends anymore. They might not ever see them again unless you create a way for them to stay in touch. It is a very difficult and challenging position. So let me go ahead and say this, because I've heard A lot of single women, especially, I'm just going to be honest to say this. Oh, I need to find me a military man. That way, good morning, Ebony. I can have me some benefits and I can get that ID card and I'm going to be getting taken care of and everything like that. Baby, being a military spouse is not easy. You heard me? It is not easy by any means. So if you going into marrying somebody who is active duty just so you can see what you going to get out of it, baby, I'm telling you right now, you in for a rude awakening. You heard me? So a military spouse, what you have to do, you have so many roles, and then don't let it turn around. Good morning, Natasha. Don't let it turn around and your spouse have to up and leave. Like I say, you go from being married, seeing your husband and your wife come in every day to, hey, baby, hey, our unit just got called. I got to leave an advance party. You know what I'm saying? And I got to, hey, Shani, how you doing? And I got to go. I got to move out. So you are, as that military spouse, with that last minute notification that your husband or wife just received. They coming to you, going through, how many of y'all remember this? Digging out that TA-50, making sure you going down the packing list, helping them pack and do all the things that they have to do. And all the while, you got to suck your feelings up because you feeling some kind of way because your baby got to leave. So you got to suck it up. And I remember that's what happened with my husband one time, Rick. I was sitting up here like, what? He told me at 12:30 at lunch, and guess what? They was pulling out at 02 that next day while my kids were at school. So I had to explain it to them. Daddy's leaving. He's leaving tomorrow. People don't understand what military spouses go through. It is no joke. And so, you know, hats off to y'all. You know, hats off to what you do. I know it was not easy for myself. You know what I'm saying? Big ups. But see, people don't understand. Only thing that people think, especially when they're not affiliated with the military, is, oh, she just sitting up, she being taken care of. Oh, yeah, all he got to do is, you know what I'm saying? You bagging on the military spouse when you don't know the tears that they're crying in their closet. You know what I'm saying? When they have to put their kids to bed and pretend like everything is okay and you got to put on this happy face. But then when you going to bed, you crying at night because you haven't heard from your spouse. I'm about to talk about that in a minute. I'm about to help somebody out if you active duty. You ain't heard from your spouse in a whole 2 weeks. This joker done up and deployed. You don't know what's going on. You don't know who to be mad at. Do I be mad at the chain of command? Do I be mad at my husband or my wife? You know what I'm saying? So let me give you a word of advice. Something that kind of helped, you know what I'm saying, when my husband deployed to Iraq. Now, my husband was close to, you know what I'm saying, the soldiers that he served with. It was 2 or 3 where he was really, really tight. You see what I'm saying? And so what I did as a wife is I got close to the spouses. And let me tell you how this worked. When your spouse have to up and deploy because of I'm about to say OPSEC, but you have to keep things really quiet. The government have to keep things quiet. They can't be announcing, listen how much sense this makes, where your husband or your wife is about to deploy to. Because if they do, guess what? They can get injured. If they out here announcing on CNN News, oh yeah, they were supposed to be in Kuwait, but they done moved over to Iraq, and they announcing this, guess what? When they announce that so you can find out what's going on with your soldier, and why you acting a fool with the chain of command and the FRG and all that kind of stuff like that, because it's been 2 weeks. He ain't called me. I'm about to divorce and leave him, or I'm about to leave her. No, they cannot do that because guess what? If they share that information with you, they share that information with the enemy. So what I would advise you to do is get in cool with a couple of the wives that are married. You know what I'm saying? To people who are cool with your spouse. Let me be honest with you and tell you how I found out my husband crossed over into Iraq before the president made the announcement that we was war and we just crossed over. No, it crossed over before. This is the pact that we had. Hey, if I couldn't hear from my spouse and didn't know what was going on with my husband at that time when he went to Iraq, I'd pick up the phone and call my homegirl, Terry. She was stationed at Fort Knox. We were stationed at Fort Campbell. Hey, Terry, have you heard from your husband? And she was like, yeah, I just heard from him the other day. Did he say how my husband's doing? Yeah, he said your husband was good. He just went out on a mission. You know, he should be returning today. Cool. That's how I got my information. I never not once went to the chain of command cussing him out. I never not once went to the FRG cussing him out. And I never not once said that I was going to leave my husband. You got to learn as a military spouse how to get the information you need without it directly, because hey, I didn't hear from my husband for a whole 30 days when Iraq popped off. And guess what I did to calm my nerves, okay? I sat down at the end of the day. Y'all won't think this is old school. I got on the computer and I typed my husband a letter every day that my husband was gone for 12 months. That's how I was able to calm myself. That's how I was able to allow my husband to know what was going on while he was gone. So that way, when he came back, he didn't feel like, dang, the baby lost the tooth. Dang, the baby over here start walking. I don't even know what's going on. I'm trying to help some military spouses on the day, because what I too much see, and remember, yes, that was some of my military spouses be acting a fool. See, I tried to make it pleasant for the first about 10, 15 minutes, but I'm about to jump into the real stuff, okay? So go ahead and put your seatbelt on, military spouses. So this is the thing right here. You going up here acting a fool with your spouse's chain of command when it's unwarranted, is not doing anything except for two things. It's making you look like a whole fool, because don't nobody want to deal with that. I used to be an NCO in the military. Don't nobody want to deal with that. Just because your husband told you something or your wife told you something last night that you didn't like, or they didn't agree with what you said, that doesn't mean that you need to go to the church. You don't want to talk to me and tell me, okay, I'm about to go to your chain of command and let's see if you talk. No. Number one, you making yourself look like a fool. Number two, you getting your spouse in trouble. Now, it is too many military spouses. Ooh, Jesus. Let me get started. How much time I got? Okay, let me keep it real. It is too many military. Okay, let me say it like this. Being a military spouse, you are heavenly intertwined. I'm trying not to use a counselor word. You are heavily intertwined with your spouse's identity. Okay? If my husband, Sergeant King, got up and he did something, he was being awarded, you know what I'm saying, a RCOM or MSM, then guess what? Me as the wife, they knew me as Mrs. King. They didn't know me even when I was in the military as Sergeant Mrs. King. They knew me as Mrs. King. I represent my husband. But on the flip side of that, there were too many military spouses, and there are still today, that because you're so intertwined with your husband's identity, you think that you are fully entitled to wear their rank. No, you are not. Let me give a good example of someone. I will not say the whole name, but I'm just going to say her name was Lori. She wasn't in the game long enough. They deployed, I want to say, to Iraq or whatever the case may be. And whatever. And I remember sitting in the FRG meeting, because I was one of those wives. I wasn't trying to do no FRG or whatever, but I ain't bagging the FRG. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, Miss Lori, who was sitting up here, and I think her husband was like a full bird colonel, whatever. She just came into the role of a military wife. She was treating my husband like he was the butler, because my husband was the rear D commander at that time. And when I say like a butler, I remember she just had a baby by her husband, and she was like, Kenya, I need you to go get my child's car seat over there. Go get the car seat and bring it to me so I can put my baby in the car seat. As I'm sitting there looking, lady, why are you talking to my husband like he's number one, your butler, or number two, he's supposed to be at your beck and call? Get your John Brown butt up and go get your own car seat. You see what I'm saying? But because she was the colonel's wife, she felt she was entitled to just treat everybody like a servant. Now, let me talk to you, active duty member, especially if you high-ranking enlisted officer. You need to get your spouse and you need to school them and let them know. Integrate them as much as possible before, you know what I'm saying, you go overseas to do what you got to do. You need to be the one that tells your spouse, you do not need to be wearing my rank. You do not, because guess what? I was that soldier, and I probably wasn't right, where I said, man, with all due respect, you didn't serve. I respect your position, but you using your spouse's position trying to tell me what to do? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You have a good day. Now, I was that one, and I probably wasn't right in what I said. But military spouses, don't get caught up in wearing your, both of our husbands is the E5 or whatever the case may be, and then your husband make E6, and then all of a sudden you think you better. The best officer's wife, and I will not put her whole name out here because her husband was in the news for some things, but her first name was Holly. And she was You know what I'm saying? They were over some things. I don't want to give out too much. But what I loved about Holly, even though Holly was an officer's wife, Holly treated everybody the same. Treat all the wives the same, regardless of what her husband's rank was. And her husband was high ranking. I love that lady. And her husband did the same thing. And so don't mess up wearing your husband's rank. Let me go on to number 2 if I shall, because I'm going to try to be mindful of the time. Number 2, like I was just talking about, if you get into an argument with your spouse, and it's not something that's warranted, this is what I need you to keep in mind. And I just sit up here and shake my head when I even think about this very thing. This is what I need you to keep in mind. Quit running to the chain of command every chance you get. Because this is the thing. If you and your service member decide to separate, and you making it your mission to run to the chain of command to make them look bad, hey, Andrea, let me tell you what's happening. You gonna get your service member busted down. And so if your service member is supposed to pay you child support because y'all got kids, guess what? When you get that service member busted down, that means your money decrease. I'm sitting up here like, well, Shan, what you think I should do? Whatever you do, you need to work it out in your house, because trust and believe, when you take it to that next level, because you mad and you huffing and puffing and trying to blow the house down, let me tell you what you're doing. You messing with your money. Okay, what you don't want to do, because you're trying to be vindictive, is get your service member busted down in rank. Because guess what? When they get busted down in rank, they get busted down in money. You see what I'm saying? Even if you decide to stay with them, you're messing with the income that's coming in your house. So I need you to get that in order. Think about that. Number 3. If your service member is overseas, and this, I'm telling you some of the stuff that the FRG ain't gonna tell you, okay? Then I'm gonna have a number 4 that's really gonna be a doozy. But number 3, if your service member is on a deployment, I advise you, do not argue with your service member while they are deployed or away from home. That's one thing I did not do when my husband was in Iraq. I tried to keep everything, because guess what? If their mind is not focused on the mission and they got to go out on the mission, they driving, my husband was driving Hemmets and stuff at that time because he was a fueler, driving 5 tons, driving a track vehicle. If they're not focused, they're not going to be on that game. So one thing I never did was argue with my husband while he was deployed. Please, for the love of God, do not do that. Because what happens, yeah, you might be mad at them. It's been 2 weeks. You haven't called me. Why haven't you called me? And they sit up here trying to explain to you, but you don't understand. No disrespect to the civilians, because you're a civilian who's never served. You never been to the field. You never deployed. So you don't understand. And I remember, ooh, help me, Jesus. You talking about FRG meetings. Help me, Lord God. Ooh. I remember being in an FRG meeting, and I was in there with 2 people who were prior military. One was the captain's wife and one was the sergeant major's wife. Actually, the captain's wife wasn't prior military, but the sergeant major's wife was. And I remember being in this FRG. I didn't want to be over no FRG. That's just what I was. Why am I in this? But being in my husband was RD commander, I had to do what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of my husband, I sucked it up. And see, that's where a lot of military spouses mess up. Well, that's just his thing. No, baby, y'all in this thing together. So what make him or her look good, make you look good, okay? So y'all got to be united. However, spouses was deployed or whatever, second time down to Iraq. I mean, the service members. And I remember it was two wives that was in there complaining in the FRG meeting. We couldn't even get the FRG meeting started, okay? I did something I probably shouldn't have did, but our FRG meeting was banging after that. However, sitting up here complaining, well, I don't know why we having this stupid FRG meeting, because here I am over here dealing with my children and my husband is over there chilling in Iraq and don't have to deal with the things I had to deal with. So me, as my husband was trying to diffuse the situation and trying to not make it a negative Nancy meeting, so I started shaking. Because I was hot. Because I know, being a service member, what it was that the spouses dealt with. I was shaking. And I said, Kenya? I said, Kenya. I was was doing this, I was rocking. He said, what? I said, I'm about to say something. I looked at the commander's wife and I looked at the sergeant major's wife, and I looked like I'm about to say something because we was real nice. My husband said, go ahead and say what you got to say. I said, look, unless you ever deployed, unless you ever served in the military, you do not know the things that they have to face. You are only speculating. So I encourage military spouses, whether you the active duty military member or not, you need to learn how to look at things at different perspectives. Don't just think your wife is at home being lazy because she's a housewife, unless you're coming home to a nasty house and your bills not being paid. That's a whole nother video. Let's stay focused on the positive. Or whatever the case may be, look at her perspective or his perspective, whoever the non-military member is. Same as the one who was active. I went in the most professional way that I knew how. And I said, look, if you are not in this meeting to be positive and do what it is that we need to do to ensure that our service members come back safely, I need you to get up and exit stage left. Get out, because we're not going to have that in this meeting. And my husband just looked, because, you know, I was the wife, the spouse, or whatever, FRG leader, whatever you want to call it. Them two negative Nancy's got their butt up and they moved out, and we had the best FRG meeting ever. Now, this is my fourth thing before I get ready to go. This is what I need you to understand if you are your spouse is active duty right now. When your spouse, and I learned this from one of my good girlfriends that's on here, when your spouse have an event or a function, listen to what I'm saying, because this is very important, and they ask you to come to that function and support them, number one, don't get an attitude. Number two, even if it's something you don't want to do, just like Nike say, just do it. Get up and go. Because I remember with my good girlfriend on her, and I can't do nothing but laugh at myself. My husband had a military ball. And I was like, man, ain't nobody trying to go to no military ball. Like, I ain't trying to go to no cheesy mess like that. And she was like, you need to go. And I was like, man, bump that. And then it was a senior event for the senior spouses. I said, man, I don't do all this political stuff. I'm not about to be schmoozing with these people. She said, Shan, you need to go. It's not about you. It's about your husband. But I was like, he ain't even gonna be there. You know, she was like, go. So, and let me tell you, number one, I had the best time ever getting to know people. It was amazing. If your spouse have a military function, you need to show up. And let me tell you something. I'm not trying to plant no negative seeds. I'm going to tell you the truth. And a lot of people on here was military spouses, and they still are. So they can tell you what I'm saying is hashtag the truth. Okay? People pay attention to how many times your spouse come to a function by themselves, especially when they know that you as the spouse are here. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. We sit up here and wonder, and that's why I was talking about military marriages and easy, and you have a lot of military divorces. Okay, when we married our husbands and they served, and we married the wives, whoever, you are male or female, and they're serving, you signed up for some stuff that you probably don't want to do. But what you need to do is be there for your service member. I can't stand for a spouse to brag about how this is my soldier, this is my airman, this is my Marine, this is my Coast Guard. You bragging when it benefits you, but you don't do the things that you need to do to be there. Baby, now that I sit back and look in retrospect, I'm glad that I attended the functions that I did, because me and my husband had an amazing time when we went. I got to dress up. I got to be cute. I got to walk up in there like Mrs. Sergeant First Class King. You see what I'm saying? And do what needs to be done. Learn how to support your spouse. I've heard too many wives that say, yeah, my husband's supposed to be coming back from Iraq, but I'm not going to be up there no 2 o'clock in the morning to welcome them back. Baby, I ain't trying to say no negativity, but let me say this, what I say about every marriage. That what you won't do, somebody else will. You better know that. So get your crusty behind up, make your little sign, whatever you got to do, get out there on that tarmac or wherever, the railhead or whatever, and greet your spouse and welcome them back home. You see what I'm saying? Regardless of how you feel. That's why a lot of military marriages end in divorce, because y'all got to be in that thing together. It's a united front. And quit trying to tell your spouse what they need to do. Military spouse, quit trying to tell your active duty spouse what it is that they need to do. One thing that I never did with my husband, when it came down to us going to a different duty station, he would call a branch. They would give him his options. Oh, yeah, you got Fort Campbell, you got Fort Knox, you got Fort Irwin, and you got Alaska. Which one you want? He would come home and he would ask me as a courtesy, baby, where would you like to go? And this was the one thing that I always told my husband, baby, we can go wherever you want to go, because number one, I had to look at what was going to progress, where he was going to be able to progress to make the next rank. So it wasn't about me. What positions are they giving you? Oh, they looking at giving you a first sergeant position. You're going to be sitting in the first sergeant slot. Oh, okay. So then that'll progress you on the E8 or whatever the case may be. We as military spouses think that we're supposed to be telling our spouses what to do and they supposed to line up. No, baby. Let me tell you, when they signed up for the United States military, they have to do what Uncle Sam tell them to do. That means the United States, not what we tell them to do. So quit getting mad at your spouse because they're not doing what you want them to do. I would always say, baby, because guess what? If my husband was to go to a duty station that I picked, and let's say we said Fort Irwin. I didn't want to go to no Fort Irwin, but anyway, go to Fort Irwin, California. No knock, no shade. I've been there before, been there, done that, and whatever. And he get there and it's a place that he don't like. The units suck. They ate up. They tore up from the floor up, and whatever other phrases that we used in the military. Then he would have to work in that for the next 2 or 3 years. You see what I'm saying? And then he will probably have resentment against me because I chose it. So that's why I kept my hands out. Baby, wherever you feel that will benefit, because my responsibility as a military spouse was just to make sure that the home was straight, to make sure that the children were straight, no matter what it is that my husband had to do for the military mission. So military spouses, yes, I commend you for everything that you do, but I advise you, make sure that you quit trying to act like that you running the rank in the home. Our roles as military spouses is to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done so that way the service member can focus on the mission. Quit trying to wear the rank. Quit trying to act like you better than. Quit running to the chain of command when it's unwarranted. If it's something that's warranted, that's a different situation. But you just get mad because your spouse well, I'm going to go talk to your platoon sergeant. What? They don't know me. Girl, who are you? Sir, who are you? You didn't serve. They not going to listen to you. Let me tell you what they going to do. They going to sit up here and they going to keep a straight face and they going to be professional, but you going to be labeled as the troublemaker. So learn how. Good morning, Sonya. Learn how to get somewhere, sit down and shut up and support your service member. That's what you need to do. I'm not trying to say as a spouse that you don't have a voice. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is learn from people who are high ranking, because that's what I had to do. I had to learn from my homegirl, who was a sergeant major's wife. Learn from people who are high ranking and see how they move and what it is that they do. You ain't got to mirror and mimic and be a carbon copy, but you learn how to have some couth about yourself. You learn how to carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you are amongst other leaders, because yes, sometimes it is a game of politics and you got to learn how to be political. And I ain't too good at that, but I didn't do too bad. When I needed to, yes, it's a pleasure to meet you and shake hands and do all this. Baby, once they got through all that little political stuff, especially military balls, baby, it was on and popping and we had an amazing time. So I'm hoping that I'm encouraging you on today. If you are a military spouse, baby, it's not easy, especially when you're in the game 20, 25, 30 years or whatever the case may be. And if you think that you're going to be able to jump from this service member to another service member that's not going to be, it's going to be a different thing, it's not. You're fooling yourself. They still serve the same government. Okay? Ain't nothing gonna change. So you might as well make sure that your situation is what it is. Be the best wife you can. Be the best husband you can. Be the best supporter for your military active duty service members. So I hope I helped some people on today. I'm going to tell you the things that the FRG and whomever else is not going to tell you, because I can speak from a place of experience. Being a military spouse was so hard for me. I remember when I got out the military, I remember calling my grandma and saying, how do you be a stay-at-home wife? I don't know how to do this stuff. This stuff is crazy. Baby, I was about to go work at the Burger King on Post and throw my kids in daycare because I didn't know how to handle it. So big ups to y'all. I know how to do it now, but big ups to you all. Thank you so much to the military spouses who support our active duty service members. I remember going into the what is the military service store called, where you go and buy your military, all your little military gear. I forgot what it's called because I ain't been in it in a minute. And I remember seeing this mug that said, being a military spouse is the hardest job in the Army. I was active duty at that time, and I was like, that's a lie. That's a lie. The truth ain't in you. How you gonna say that when we gotta do? Until I just became a military spouse. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely agree, because you have to adjust, and your life a lot of times is not like your own. So yes, your identity is so intertwined with your husband or your wife because you're their support system. You see what I'm saying? But what I encourage you to do, like I was talking about yesterday, if it's okay for husband and wife, learn how to get something under your belt that is going to help you in the long run, because you never know what may happen. You never know what's going to come with your family. Get you some education, take some online courses, get you some technical school, get you something. So God forbid you and your active duty member split up. God forbid. We don't want that to happen. That's why I'm doing these videos. Or God forbid something happened to them where they leave out and they don't make it home. You will be able to gather yourself and move forward because you'll have some type of experience under your belt. So military spouses, big ups to you. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a service to our country by being the amazing support system to your active duty member. A lot of people don't understand what we go through as military spouses, but for that, your girl Shan, who understands, says thank you. So y'all have a blessed day. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Share this because it's free. Your girl, she ain't going to be back on tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about military children tomorrow, okay? We're going to be looking at things from a whole different perspective. And I'm going to talk about military children. And then on Thursday, I'm talking to the veterans. So for those of you who are active duty spouses, whatever the case may be, join us on Thursday because one day your spouse will get that title of veteran, okay? So y'all have a blessed day and blessings to you. God bless.